Yo, what's going on, guys? King here. In today's video, I want to take you through the brand new public test server patch notes for patch 12.0 that were recently released over on the Focus Entertainment forums by Saber Interactive and Focus Entertainment. These were posted today, a little while ago, and cover all of the new changes that they're implementing in the public test server that you are going to be able to try out if you own the game on PC and Steam. And all of these new changes are looking to be implemented in patch 12.0. So let's dive right into the patch notes right here. They start off with new features and the new class, the Tech Marine. We are introducing a new playable class, the Tech Marine. This mighty technician specializes in crowd control and area defense, handling multiple combat tasks simultaneously. This is primarily possible with his servo gun ability. When activated, it locks onto enemies in a line of sight and automatically fires at them while the Tech Marine continues to fight in melee or range. Furthermore, the servo gun allows executing gun strikes without interrupting other actions. And I will also link the previous video that I did on the gameplay overview for the Tech Marine in the upper right hand corner, so you guys can check out some of those new features that are going to be coming in patch 12.0. They're introducing a new weapon as well, the Omniscient Axe. With the Tech Marine class, you will also get the chance to try out its signature weapon, the Omniscient Axe. This weapon is capable of dealing massive damage to both a single target with its standard attacks and to surrounding enemies with its finishing heavy attacks. And as a starting heavy attack, you can perform a powerful charge attack that can hit all enemies in its path. They have a new mechanic for the Omniscient Axe as well, the Omniscient Rush. So that is also showed off in the gameplay overview for the Tech Marine. New PvE content, Tarantula Sentry Gun. Tech Marines can also locate and activate sentry turrets in PvE missions. These tarantula type emplacements offer automatic suppressive fire support against nearby enemies. Sentry turrets have limited ammo and will go into standby mode after running out of it, but a Tech Marine can reawaken them to restore their supplies. And these are going to be set pieces throughout operations and stratagems. We're still looking to see if these are going to be added into siege mode as well. But so far, I've seen good things regarding the Tarantula Sentry Gun and its ability to take out enemies and provide support to your team throughout missions. New PvE map is called Disruption. Space Marine forces are deployed to the hive city of Avarax to aid overwhelmed Cadian forces in repelling a massive Tyranid swarm attack. They join the Dreadnought to eradicate Thousand Sun forces penetrating into the lower levels of the city. So very cool mission. Looks to be a hybrid mission with both Tyranid and Chaos enemies, and you also get Dreadnought support in this one as well. So very, very excited for this new PvE mission. New PvE equipment is Restorative Stims. The Restorative Stims, a new PvE healing equipment, has been added, encouraging aggressive playstyles. Upon use, it restores an initial small amount of health, then a large amount of contested health over a period of time. So it looks like these new stims are going to encourage rushing into enemy hordes, so you don't have to worry about losing too much contested health without contested health regeneration at the same time. New feature, shared heads for PvE and PvP characters. Added an option to pick any face for PvE and PvP characters in armor customization. Class restrictions no longer apply. So this is actually a new feature outside of the new DLC heads that they're adding for the Blood Angels, Space Wolves, and Black Templars. This means that you can use any of the current existing PvE or PvP character heads on any class. So if you want to use the head for Assault on the Bulwark or the Sniper or the Heavy now, you can do that. So you can interchange all of those heads. I'm not sure if that does change the voice lines for them in PvE or PvP, but that is something we are looking to see. New tech feature, Siege Host Migration, and this is a massive update. Supported host migration for Siege mode. If a server crash occurs, the game will continue on a new server from the last saved state. So this is a massive update for those of you who love to play in Siege mode, love to push the high levels, and are worried about the N2 air crashing your game. Also for console players, if you are running into server crashes at Wave 15, Wave 20, Wave 25. This will allow host migration and for you to continue on to push the highest levels of Siege while playing on console. So very excited for this. This is going to open up a lot more people to come back to Siege mode and play to push the highest levels. New battlefield conditions. They added 21 new battlefield conditions to expand the variety of daily and weekly stratagems. So very excited to see what all of those conditions are going to be looking like. Custom challenge mode for PvE. Players can now create private matches with any combination of battlefield conditions. This allows players to customize their games, set their own stratagems, or simply enjoy some lighthearted carnage. So you can add both positive and negative modifiers to private matches for stratagems and operations. So if you want to create the most diabolical hard operations or the most fun with positive modifiers, you can now do that. New heroic items. They added 3 heroic weapons. Number 1 being the combat knife, number 2 being the Omniscient axe, and number 3 being the heavy bolt rifle. I've seen the new heroic weapons. It looks like the new heroic combat knife gives you damage on parries and riposte. The Omniscient axe is a fencing type variant, so very quick parry window and opens up ability for more gun strikes. And then the heroic heavy bolt rifle is a heavy bolt rifle variant with a grenade launcher that matches the Inquisition Deathwatch type heavy bolt rifle that they use. So very, very cool to see those. New DLC content included in Season Pass 2, Raven Guard Champion Pack. So it's for the Assault class with a bolt pistol skin matching the Raven Guard, and then the Carcharodon's Chapter Pack. So Carcharodon's cosmetics, what I've seen already is it for the Carcharodon's cosmetic pack, it is 2 Carcharodon's helmets, 1 chest piece, and both a left and right pauldron. Not included in any season pass, 3 custom heads. So that's going to be for the Blood Angels, Black Templars, and Space Wolves. And then voiceovers for PvE and PvP characters. So unique voice lines for all 3 of those unique chapters. Gameplay and balancing tweaks. PvE perks, tactical. They gave a buff to balance distribution. Both negative and positive effects are increased from 10% to 15%. And then they updated Kraken penetrator rounds. All bolter weapons now deal 50% more damage with body shots. And this really addresses a huge discrepancy in Space Marine 2 where headshot damage is just overwhelmingly better than body shot damage. So this should open up a lot more playstyles with bolt weapon types for body shots and really help to change and swing the dynamic of body shot damage compared to headshot damage. So this is a great addition. Now, Kraken penetrator rounds isn't available on all classes, so we will see how bolt weapons fare on other classes like the Assault, the Vanguard, the Heavy, and also the Sniper. So, you know, for at least tactical, this is going to open up a lot more playstyles for your bolt type weaponry. Sniper efficient readiness. Now the effect lasts 5 seconds after deactivation. Ambush now forces stagger to the enemies, and Vantage Point added an indication when ready. Assault, squad cohesion effect is increased from 10% to 15%. Hammer of Wrath is now a prestige perk, replacing Commendation. The Commendation perk has now been completely removed, so that is very cool to see that they're adding Hammer of Wrath as a prestige perk, and they're removing Commendation. Strong Strike, new perk, which is taking the original place of Hammer of Wrath. Hitting an enemy with the Jump Pack's dash attack ability restores this 1 charge of the ability. Cooldown is 10 seconds. So now this opens up a lot more utility for the Assault's Jump Pack dash to allow ability recharge when using it. So this is going to open up a lot more playstyles, especially with the new mechanic they added for the Jump Pack dash attack for the Assault. So if you are creating builds essentially using Strong Strike, Wings of Flame, you're going to be able to utilize the Jump Pack dash a lot more frequently and a lot more consistently to, you know, really get the effect of using that Jump Pack dash and efficiency of using it and getting its ability recharge back more consistently. So very cool to see that. Winged Fury now works with all stances of Power Sword. Firearms in PvE, Bolt Rifle. Base damage is increased by 10% for versions Drogo's Reclamation Beta Artificer and Ophelian Liberation Beta Relic. So increased damage for the Bolt Rifle. Bolt Carbine Marksman version, base damage is increased by 11% for versions Drogo's Reclamation Marksman Artificer tier and Ophelia Liberation Marksman Relic tier. Inferno Pistol gunstrike damage is increased by 22%, so they finally address the lacking gunstrike damage for the Inferno Pistol. So very happy to see this, and it's going to open up a lot more builds, especially gunstrike type builds for this weapon. Volkite Pistol gunstrike damage is increased by 9%, and what I will say about the Volkite Pistol is it has a pretty neutral amount of gunstrike damage, so seeing this increase isn't going to be a massive difference, but is definitely going to open up playstyles for it and draw people back to using the Neo Volkite Pistol. Equipment in PvE, Sanctified Wrath Reliquary, bonus to melee damage is increased from 25% to 35%. Effect duration is increased from 15 to 20 seconds. So there's definitely a highlight here for the Sanctified Wrath Reliquary because they probably noticed that most people are not using this pickup. To be honest, switching this pickup for, crack grenades, frag grenades, shock grenades, or melta bombs just doesn't have that much of a significant effect, especially on the highest levels of absolute operations, hard stratagems, hard siege mode. So seeing this and them highlighting this equipment to try and get more players to use it and get that bonus melee damage, they're looking to buff up this equipment and really get it into use more often for players in PvE. Melee in PvE, damage of all Artificer and Relic balance type melee weapons was increased by about 15% on average. So again, most players are not using balance type parry window weapons. They're using fencing or block. Block by far being the most effective weapon type, especially in the hardest content for Space Marine 2. So they're looking to buff up balance type melee weapons and draw players back to those types of melee weapons in PvE. PvP, fix restoring armor by hitting an enemy for power axe. So haven't played a lot of PvP recently, but there seems to have been some issues with restoring armor for the power axe. Fix issue with third attack in power sword combo dealing too much damage. So looks like they also nerfed the power sword a little bit. And then blindness effect from shock grenade is increased from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds. So it looks like they reduced the blindness effect, which will also open up a little bit of play for PvP with, shock grenades and not being blind for a massive 2-second difference. Rewards, siege mode, rebalance rewards for waves completion. First 5 waves grant less XP, while later waves grant more XP. And this is a massive issue that they're correcting, where the first 5 waves of siege granted a massive 4,000 XP experience bonus. And a lot of players were using siege mode in the first 5 waves to, speed level their characters or their weapons. Now it looks like they finally rebalance this to grant more XP on later waves. So they want you to push more hard waves in siege to gain more XP. So I think this is a great change. It's going to draw back a lot of players from jumping into hard siege just to play the first 5 waves and then exiting the match. And then for stratagems on hard difficulty, it no longer grants XP. So this is also something they wanted to address with lower level players jumping into hard stratagems to try to XP grind and also accolade grind. This will also pull a lot of lower level players away from hard stratagems to make them play operations or normal stratagems if they are looking to level their characters. Hard Siege and Hard Stratagems is the highest difficulty and endgame content in Space Marine 2. Honestly, it probably should be level capped to level 25, but I think with this change, this is a good change which will draw players away from playing that Hard Siege and Hard Stratagems just to try to level their character versus actually learning the game through operations, absolute operations, and then normal siege and normal stratagems. Gameplay quality of life, contested health no longer fades away during grabbed animations. This is massive, especially if you are aware about being grabbed by Terminators, Raveners, and Lictors. There has been a massive issue since the launch of Space Marine 2 where if you are grabbed by those enemies, you will lose health. It will be contested, but then your contested health will drain and you won't be able to get any of it back. So essentially, if you had 100% health, being grabbed by one of those enemies will take you from 100 to 0% health, and it definitely causes massive issues with people losing on operations and missions because they get grabbed a single time. So this is a massive fix, and I'm glad they are addressing it. They rebalance melee attacks that have multiple attacks. Now they restore contested health with each strike instead of just one. So very cool to see that they are giving back more contested health off of multiple melee strikes. They slightly adjusted hitboxes of a few melee attacks so they would connect more easily with larger enemies. So good fix there. Fix an issue where Bolt Sniper Rifle and Last Fusel would miss their targets at extremely long range. Aim assist at such distances has also been slightly increased. And then they improved properties of bullet magnetism for Chaos enemies. NPC Chaos Spawns, Rubric Marines, Zangors, Terminators, making them slightly easier to headshot at medium and long ranges. And this is something that a lot of games do in their PvE modes with bullet magnetism. If you are slightly off with the aiming for a headshot on long range distances, this will improve being able to get headshots at those long ranges. For the AI, they did lots of minor fixes with animation, so good there. Customization, added and updated a few champion parts to the custom armor set pieces, added Ultramarines champion tabard to tactical, Imperial Fist champion tabard to tactical, robes to the Dark Angels champion bulwark chest. This is massive. We've been asking for this since the release of the Dark Angels champion. The Dark Angels champion shoulder pads to heavy, updated White Scars champion chest on tactical to include belt accessories, added Black Templar champion shoulder pads to heavy, and added Blood Angels champion shoulder pads and backpack to bulwark. This is massive. I'm so happy to see this. Customization is king in Space Marine 2, and these are much needed additions from the champion packs to other classes. The Ultramarines champion tabard is amazing. The Dark Angels champion robes, much needed, so I cannot wait to make more custom armor sets, more lore accurate sets using these custom champion armor pieces. So absolutely stoked for this. Added option to switch and apply heroic weapons skins to other weapon tiers. So I love this. Now you can add and make more lore accurate weapon skins on your weapon choices, and lots of minor customization fixes for both loyalists and chaos. Levels, lots of minor fixes with level geometry. General fixes, fixed the plasma weapon perk fast venting, reduces cooldown by 7.5% instead of 15%, so much needed adjustment there. Fix a bug with the heroic heavy bolt pistol not interrupting enemy reinforcements with body shots. This was an issue off of the release of the heavy heroic bolt pistol. So now you will get an automatic cancellation on enemy reinforcements with a body shot from heroic heavy bolt pistol. Fix a bug with the controller aim assist strength depending on camera FOV. Lots of minor bug fixes, lots of minor localization bug fixes, lots of minor UI and sound fixes, tech crash fixes, and general stability improvements, memory optimization, minor performance enhancements, general connectivity improvements, DLC content availability on the PTS. If you own a DLC on the game, it will be available on the PTS, but you cannot equip it. It will only be visible. So if you have access to the PTS, you can see all of the new DLC content from the Season Pass, but you cannot equip it. Features not available on the PTS. Unfortunately, we could not bring these two features to the PTS, but rest assured they will be available and functioning when patch 12 releases. New feature, voice selector. Option to pick and customize voices for PvE and PvP characters. Customization, 4 more shared customization slots will be added. So you're going to be able to customize even more when patch 12.0 releases. So very excited to see all of this. So let me know your guys' thoughts on the new PTS and all of the things they're bringing to patch 12. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you guys like this content, make sure you like the damn video and subscribe, and I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace.